Okay, we need to talk about a pretty serious threat to your iPhone. A powerful hacking tool, the kind that was once only used by spies, has actually leaked online. This puts millions of iPhones at risk, so we're going to break down exactly what happened and, way more importantly, what you can do about it right now. So this is really the big question, isn't it? Because what we're talking about isn't some far-off, theoretical problem. This is about the phone that's probably in your hand or in your pocket as we speak. And the answer to whether it's safe, well, it all comes down to one really simple thing, which we'll get to in just a minute. Here's the heart of the issue. These are sophisticated cyber weapons. You know, the kind governments build for espionage. And they've escaped. They're out in the wild now. They're not locked away in some intelligence agency's server room anymore. They're on the public internet, basically up for grabs for anyone from state-sponsored hackers to your garden-variety cybercriminals. So, let's put a name to these things. Security researchers are calling them Coruna and DarkSword. And trust me, these are not just simple viruses. They are advanced, full-on toolkits designed to do one thing: break into your iPhone or iPad and steal everything. Okay, so both of these tools are incredibly dangerous. They target a huge range of iOS versions, and their goal is to get their hands on your most private data, messages, location, you name it. But here's the critical difference, the really scary part. While Corona is being passed around by spies, a piece of the DarkSword toolkit has been leaked online. That means part of this powerful weapon is just out there for anyone to find and use. So you're probably asking, how does a top-secret hacking tool end up on the public internet? Well, it's a story we've seen before, and honestly, it reads like a spy thriller. A weapon gets built, it gets sold, and then somehow it gets out, and everything just spirals out of control. And this journey from secret to public tends to follow a really predictable and frankly scary path. The Coruna toolkit, for example, was built by a US defense contractor and sold to governments. But from there, it just spread, eventually landing in the hands of Russian spies and Chinese cyber criminals. And if that sounds familiar, it should. It is almost exactly what happened back in 2017 when leaked NSA tools led to the devastating WannaCry ransomware attacks that crippled computers worldwide. To put it simply, posting part of the DarkSword code on a public site like GitHub is the digital version of taking a master key that can unlock millions of unupdated iPhones and just posting it on a public bulletin board for all to see. It makes a really sophisticated attack shockingly easy for anyone to pull off. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Justin Albrecht, who's a principal researcher over at the security firm Lookout, he described the leaked code as essentially plug and play. Think about that. That means you don't have to be some elite hacker to use this. The code is written in simple web languages, which makes it incredibly easy for even low-skilled attackers to get their own hacking campaigns up and running. So, what started as a leak has now become a potential global problem. We're not talking about a handful of people here. The potential scope of this vulnerability is absolutely massive, and it affects a huge portion of Apple's user base all over the world. Get this. According to Apple's own statistics, nearly 1 out of every 3 iPhone and iPad users, that's 33%, are not running the latest software. Every single device in that big slice of the pie is potentially vulnerable to an attack using these leaked tools. And what does that 33% actually mean in the real world? Well, with over 2.5 billion active Apple devices out there, we are talking about hundreds of millions of iPhones and iPads that could be vulnerable right now just because they haven't been updated. The scale of this is just staggering. Okay, that was a lot of bad news, but here's the good news, and it's really good. Protecting yourself is actually incredibly simple. You have the power to shut this security hole right now, so let's walk through your defense plan. This right here is the single most important thing you can do, and it is so easy. Just open up your Settings app, tap on General, then tap on Software Update, and install the latest version that's waiting for you. Apple has already fixed this vulnerability. You just have to install the patch. This one step is your shield. And you can be absolutely sure that this works. Apple itself has confirmed that these specific attack methods do not work against devices running the latest software. The fix is already there, waiting for you. You just have to tap Install. Now, let's talk about another layer of security. For people who might be specifically targeted because of who they are or what they do, I'm talking about journalists, activists, people like that. There's an even higher level of protection. It's called lockdown mode. It's an optional feature that basically turns your iPhone into a digital fortress by heavily restricting its functions to close off potential ways an attacker could get in. And it's effective. Apple says that lockdown mode does block these specific Coruna and DarkSword attacks. But even more impressive, they've said that they have yet to see any evidence of a successful spyware attack against any user who had lockdown mode turned on. For the people who really need it, it is an incredibly powerful shield.
So, you've updated your phone. You're safe from this particular threat, and that's great. But it's worth taking just a second to zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, because this whole incident is just one battle in a much larger, unending cyber arms race.
You know, this isn't the first time a government-grade cyber weapon has leaked, and it for sure won't be the last. There's this constant cycle where nations and their contractors build these incredibly powerful digital tools for spying, but then they eventually get out, they escape control, and they end up endangering all of us. And that really leaves us with a huge, lingering question to think about. The technology for this kind of digital warfare is only going to get more and more advanced. But as we keep building these more powerful digital weapons, the risk of them backfiring on a global scale just keeps growing. It's one of the fundamental challenges of our connected world. How do we build the locks without losing control of the keys?